There's a lot of people saying how 2024 is pretty dry on video games, and it's a valid point. We definitely have a few bangers like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dragon Age just came out, and there's been a few other games. The lack of games that have come out really shouldn't stop you from enjoying video games. All my latest purchases personally have been older titles that I've never experienced before. 2024 has really allowed me to finally just binge the entire Halo series for the first time. I just picked up Gears of War, Quantum Break. I'm playing Assassin's Creed 2, Mario RPG, and Fire Emblem. So the bottom line, they may be all older games, but there are definitely new experiences to me. I think with all the games out there that are to be experienced, you really shouldn't have to rely on new releases to have fun. Growing up, I had a GameCube, a PS3, and a Wii, and any money that came in for Christmas and birthday. So I had a pretty limited library. Now that my career's gotten off the ground a little bit more, I finally bought my first Xbox, and that allowed me to finally play through the Halo series. After I finished playing Halo Infinite, I plan to start Gears of War. So these are not new games, but they're really fun games. And even though I'm experiencing them for the first time in 2024, it's never too late. It still allowed me to have fun in 2024, even though even though these are dating back to 2007 or even earlier. Devices like the Miu Mini Plus have allowed me also to finally pick up Fire Emblem Sacred Stones, Mario RPG, Chrono Trigger, and Pokemon Unbound for the first time. But because you can't play everything, I really think that the release date of a game shouldn't matter. A lot of games today are really meant to monetize a lot of aspects of the game. I mean, and not just the free-to-play games like Fortnite and Pokemon Go, but you look at any modern Ubisoft game, and within the menu, there's ads for new games or new skins or DLC, and it's all in-game, which is fine, but like you play a game back last gen and it was kind of a more complete experience. Yeah, back in the day, graphics may not have been as good as they were, but I would argue if it's a fun game, it's still a fun game. And by older games, I don't necessarily mean older as in ancient games. I'm not saying go play NES stuff or arcade or Pac-Man or anything like that. I played Jedi Survivor almost a year after its release, and I actually picked it up on a Black Friday sale. I played Halo Infinite 3 years after its release. The Witcher 9th generation, I started playing 2 years after its initial release. I mean, that re-release came out in 2022. The original game came out in 2015. So the nice thing about not being tied to day one purchases is that you can have perks like buying it on sale, but also finishing what you buy is nice too, because what's the point in buying games that you're not going to finish or you're not going to play? I mean, if you're not having fun with it, fine, but actually finishing your backlog actually is a little bit more fulfilling in my personal opinion. Not to mention that you can play games that, if they require day one updates, at least you have that update available. Emulation devices are also on the rise these days. It makes it easier for you to access your older library. They can be cheap like Miu Mini devices or Ambernick devices. They start out, if you get them on the official website, at $65. If you get them on Amazon, more like $85. But that's a pretty decent price for what you get, pretty much. I mean, as long as you're sticking to Game Boy Advance or Super Nintendo or PS1 stuff. You can even get a Steam Deck and use that for emulation. There's a lot of people buying the Steam Deck for, there's Steam purposes, like you buy a game on Steam and you have it to access right there in your library and you have it running, with a pretty solid frame rate as well too. But also there's a lot of people downloading Dolphin emulator so they can play old GameCube games, old PS2 games. So there's a lot of older games being played these days. Not necessarily because people hate modern gaming. There's a lot of good modern gaming. Some people don't want super realistic graphics and they are more into just playing games that they grew up with and stuff. So that's been a pretty neat factor. I personally have had a lot of luck with playing games that aren't day one. There are definitely games that I do have day one, like any kind of Nintendo game if I'm super into it. I mean, those don't usually go on sale. If I'm looking at a Ubisoft game like Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, I just picked that one up. That released in January, and now I just picked it up in October. But regardless, the bottom line is not being tied down to buying games immediately is actually kind of freeing, and there's nothing really wrong with playing older titles. A lot of what is nice about having a game on day one is, hey, you have a game that's, pretty highly rated, and you're talking with your buddies about this like fresh game, and it's really exciting. But that excitement kind of dies down after a little while. If you're having fun even with an older title, you're still having fun and enjoying your gaming hobby. So that's what I think, especially as a dad with 5 to 10 hours of game time available. I want to know what you think. Do you have luck playing older titles? Do you strictly do new titles, or do you only play older titles? Do you have like a mix? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you in the next one.